leaders arrive in Glasgow for 12 days of crucial talks on the future of the planet. COP26 is widely seen as the world's last chance to prevent irreversible damage from climate change. Earlier, leaders of the world's richest nations meeting in Rome fell short of setting specific net zero targets. The COP26 host spelled out the challenge ahead.
There are no compelling excuses for our procrastination. Not only have we acknowledged the problem, we're already seeing firsthand the devastation climate change causes.
The long-awaited climate summit, COP26, has opened in Glasgow. World leaders, prominent scientists and advisors are ready for 12 days of discussion with one principal aim: to get the world to commit to reduce carbon emissions and avoid a climate catastrophe. And to confirm the urgent need for action, the World Meteorological Organization has published its annual global climate report, stating that the past 7 years have been the hottest on record, with far-reaching repercussions for current and future generations. Our science correspondent Rebecca Morell has more details.
A gloomy start to proceedings in Glasgow, but there are high hopes for a sunnier outcome. In a socially distanced conference centre, a reminder we're still in a time of COVID, as Alok Sharma formally takes the reins for what some say is the last chance to save the planet.
Floods, cyclones, wildfires, record temperatures. We know that our shared planet is changing for the worse. And we can only address that together through this international system.
The World Meteorological Organization warns today that these extremes are the new normal. But it's developing countries who are suffering the most, and they say the onus should be on richer nations.
Malawi, like many countries that are developing, have been at the receiving end of climate change issues, pretty much brought by those developed nations who continue to emit so much carbon.
Central to these talks is a vital number, 1.5 degrees. If temperatures go above this, we move into dangerous territory. The world, though, is already 1.1 degrees above pre-industrial levels, and we're seeing the impacts of that right now. But even if every country does what it's promising, we're on course for 2.7 degrees by the end of the century. Activists are demanding more action now, led by Greta Thunberg, mobbed as she arrived in Glasgow. But she says there's still hope.
If we can't keep the global average temperature rise to below 1.5, then we do 1.6, and then 1.7, and so on. We can always prevent things from getting worse. It's never too late to do as much as we can.
As the meeting gets underway, protesters say the time to tackle climate change is now. But after nearly 3 decades of talks, there are questions over how much can be achieved. With world leaders soon to arrive, all eyes will be on whether COP26 will succeed. Rebecca Morell, BBC News, Glasgow.
Well, already there's been a taste of the problems ahead. The world's richest nations, the G20, have been meeting in Rome, where leaders were accused of failing to make the commitments that are needed. The British Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, admitted the pledges were too vague and not enough. The United Nations Secretary General said the time for diplomatic niceties was over and that the summit in Glasgow was the last hope.